Here's everything you need to know before you travel to Southeast Asia. Hi, I'm Becca. I traveled to Southeast Asia 2 separate times now, and the last time I was there for 4 months. So let's get into the tips. Tip number one is to be flexible. So I always will recommend to do your research before going. Research the countries you want to go to, the places you want to go within each country, and maybe some experiences that you want to do. But overall, do not have your whole entire backpacking route or trip planned. Maybe book the first 2 weeks so you have some security, but then after that, Southeast Asia is very easy to travel around. And yeah, just be flexible. You're going to want to change your plans and go with the flow. And while you're doing your research for where you want to go, I would do your research on visa requirements. So that's tip number two. Make sure you know the visa requirements for each country and the requirements that you need to be able to even enter that country. So for me, I have a US passport, and there's only one country that I needed to pre-apply for a visa, and that was Vietnam. The rest I was able to get on arrival, but I know Bali, it's helpful if you get it beforehand because you might wait in line for 4 hours, whereas if you already have the pre-approved visa, you can skip all of that. But really just do your research on if you need it beforehand or on arrival, and then see what's required to even get into the country. So some places you need a plane ticket out of that country. So specifically in the Philippines, you can't even board your plane until you have proof of onward travel. So do your research. Don't let anything catch you off guard. Just be prepared and ready for all of that. Tip number three is where to book your accommodations. So the top 3 places or sites I used was Booking.com, Hostelworld, and Airbnb. I used Agoda a couple times, but overall wouldn't really recommend. I haven't had the best luck with them, but I know a lot of people do use that as well. So, but yeah, top 3, Booking, Airbnb, and Hostelworld. So when you're looking for places on Booking, I would always recommend a rating above 7. So 8 and above is really going to be your best bet. Anything in the 7s, 6s, obviously below that, not very good. Read the reviews, because sometimes the reviews won't line up with the number that Booking gives it. So just make sure to read reviews and book anything above an 8, and you're typically good to go. Another little backpacker tip is to find their WhatsApp number, either on Booking or whatever site you're using, and just message them before you book the place and see if they will give you a lower rate. A lot of times they're willing to allow you to pay less because it's not going through a company. Sometimes not, just depends, but always worth a shot. Okay, tip number 4 is all about transportation. So you have your big apps that you need downloaded, ready to go before you even get to the countries, and that is Grab. That's the main one, and then Gojek is a second option. This is like their Uber. It is cheap, it is secure, you pay with your card, it's all taken care of. Highly, highly recommend. Those are the best options to get to and from airports and to and from cities. So highly recommend those 2 apps. And taxi services are usually available. Just make sure that they are using a meter. Ask if they're using a meter and then see that they click the meter on, or else you will get you'll get ripped off. I've had it happen before, and I even asked if they were using the meter. They said yes, and I didn't see it go on. Apparently I got ripped off. So if you're going to use taxi, just make sure that you're asking those questions. Transportation within the location that you're at, there's tuk-tuks everywhere. In the Philippines, they call it the tricycles. Those are great options to get to closer destinations. And then motorbike is a big thing that they use over there. I never had anyone ask for my international driver's license, but I did have it just in case, because I know some places in Thailand, they will have little checkpoints and they'll ask for it. Same with Vietnam, like on the Ha Giang Loop. It just depends what you're doing. But overall, you don't need an international driver's license. Just be really smart if you're renting a motorbike. make sure to wear a helmet, and make sure you know what you are doing, but it will give you the freedom to see what you want when you want to see it. If I didn't have a motorbike, I would have missed half the things that I saw and did. So yeah, learning how to ride a motorbike is very, very helpful. And then obviously you have your buses, your vans, ferries, and yeah, those are all generally very easy to find to book. A lot of times I would just book it at the ferry port or at my accommodation. They would help you just book it. They give you a piece of paper. They tell you where to go. They pick you up, take you where you need to go. All very, very easy. The only place that's a little bit harder for transportation, I would say, is the Philippines. And my main recommendation for that is just to ask the locals. Online information isn't always very accurate, and it's hard to even find in the first place. So ask your locals, they'll help you and take you to where you need to go. Okay, tip number 5, look ahead in the schedule, see if there's any big events that you want to attend or any holidays that are upcoming, because things will book out like crazy for either of those things. So if there's like the Lantern Festival you want to go to in Thailand, book that early, or the full moon party. Things will be very hard to come by if you do it around the time that you're about to leave, and they will get very expensive. Same thing with holidays. If there's a holiday like Easter or Christmas or big events, just make sure things are planned ahead of time, because things fill up like crazy. I was on Siargao, an island in the Philippines, and I almost didn't have any accommodations. Same with a lot of other people, because things booked up like crazy. So just make sure to plan ahead for big things like that, so you're not caught off guard and left with nowhere to stay. Tip number 6 is SIM cards and communication. So make sure you have WhatsApp downloaded on your phone, ready to go. That is the best way to communicate with your friends and family, and with hotels and excursions and all things like that. So have that downloaded. And then SIM cards, there's physical SIM card and eSIMs. I always used physical SIM cards. I found that it was cheaper and you usually got better data versus the eSIM, but I know it's also nice to have a peace of mind where you're landed in that country and the eSIM starts working right away. So you can't really go wrong with either. But when it comes to the physical SIM card, I usually would get it at the airport. Yes, I know you can get it cheaper at convenience stores such as 7-Eleven, but I wanted my data to be working right away so I wasn't left in any sticky situations. And it still wasn't that bad in the airport. If you're with a couple, maybe one person gets it at the airport and the other person waits to get it at the convenience store. But physical SIM cards it's just the best way to go. I know there's apps for eSIMs such as like Airlo or Maya. I don't have too much experience with those apps, but I heard they work well. So yeah, you can't go wrong with either. Tip number 7 is travel insurance. You need travel insurance. It's just the smart and safe thing to do. You don't know what's going to happen. You're going to be doing these crazy experiences usually that potentially may result in an injury. You just never know. So Safety Wing is what I have always used in the past. It's pretty cheap. It's great because you can put the dates in for when you're going and pay in total, or you can just pay month by month, and then when you're going home you can cancel it. So pretty cheap and easy to use, and it also covers basic travel things such as if like your luggage gets lost or if your flight is canceled. So highly recommend travel insurance. Tip number 8, and if you take anything away from this video, let it be this: pack light. Oh my gosh, there's nothing worse than having an 80-liter backpack filled to the brim, walking around to your accommodation that's 15-20 minutes away in the blistering heat. It is not needed. Save your backpack light. Get a carry-on bag so you don't have to worry about all those extra fees, and you're going to want to just buy clothes there. You're going to want to buy souvenirs there. So leave the space for those things. Do not go on big shopping sprees for this backpacking trip. Get the necessities and then just buy clothes there. Trust me, you will be thanking me later. Tip number 9 is all things about payment. So cash really is the best way to go while you're traveling in Southeast Asia. Cards are used pretty widely for most things. Sometimes they have an upcharge on it, like 3%, which really isn't that big of a deal. But cash is always going to be cheaper, and some places only accept cash. And when you do tuk-tuks, things like that, you're going to need cash. ATMs are everywhere, so you don't really have to worry about that. Now, ATM fees will start to rack up over time, so depending how long you are there, you might want to get a travel card. I know there's like Revolut, Wise, and that will just help minimize your ATM fees. So, yeah, cash is just something you're going to want to have on you at all times. And multiple cards. Do not just take one card and rely solely on that. Things get lost, things get stolen. Bring multiple cards, put them in separate places so you always have a backup option. Tip number 10, we finally made it, and that is to try the local cuisine. Try all the food. It really you get to know the culture that way. You get to see what they eat day to day, and it's a great opportunity to sit and go to these local places, talk to the locals, learn about their culture, and you might find dishes that you can't believe that you've gone your whole life without eating. So eat the local food. Don't be scared. Just if you're not sure about certain things or certain places to eat, just watch where the locals are going. And yeah, just make sure, obviously you can always ask if they're using bottled water to rinse their vegetables. I know that's a big one. And yeah, just make sure things are really, really hot. If they're cooking meat, make sure it's on the grill that's really, really hot. Food poisoning is a thing, but just don't be scared. Eat the local food. If you're really worried about food poisoning like I was, because I got hit pretty bad with it, the first time I went, the second time I brought charcoal pills, and that was a game changer. I didn't get food poisoning at all the second time I was in Southeast Asia, and if I was worried about the food, I would just pop 2 charcoals before eating, or even if my stomach was feeling off after eating, I would pop the charcoal in and I would feel fine after that. It really just soaks in all the poison if there is any. So eat the local food and bring charcoal as a backup. Okay, now just kind of rapid fire little tips. So bring your own sunscreen. It is going to be super expensive to buy it there, and a lot of times it didn't even work for me. Make sure it's reef safe if you're planning on going in the ocean. Buy your bug spray there. It will work a lot better, and it's really not expensive. I don't know why people would tell you to buy it beforehand. And use your bug spray. So dengue is pretty prevalent in Southeast Asia, and you don't want to get that at all. So wear your sunscreen and wear your bug spray. Talk to the locals. You're traveling for a reason. Don't just talk to your fellow travelers. Really get to know the locals. Great for you, great for them, and it just is really eye-opening to see their home through their eyes. And then travel eco-friendly and local-friendly. Try to stay in homestays rather than big resorts. Trust me, by the end of the trip, luxury is going to be something that you don't really mind having. More authentic experiences are going to way outweigh the nice bathroom and shower that you have in your place. So yeah, traveling eco-friendly is big too. You want to support the country you're going to and not ruin it. Okay, that is all my travel tips I have for you. If this helped you, please give it a like, subscribe, share, comment any questions you have down below. I will be there to help, and have so much fun on your backpacking trip. Bye.